The U.S. Mexico border has been a topic of heated debate for years, but what's really happening? Is it a crisis, a political battleground, or something even more complex? In this video, we'll break down the facts, the challenges, and the solutions being discussed. Illegal border crossings have surged in recent years. In 2023 alone, U.S. Customs and Border Protection reported over 2 million encounters at the southern border. That's more than double the figures from just a few years ago. These numbers include asylum seekers, economic migrants, and even those involved in criminal activity.
In 2023, the United States Border Patrol reported a slight decline in apprehensions and expulsions, totaling 2,063,692 cases.
Where are you from?
From Honduras. You don't find work there. And if you do, it's badly paid. And then there is all the extortion from the gangs.
It's hard back home. The gangs, the maras are everywhere. And the authorities are also corrupt.
Well, Marty, tense moments really unfolded on the southern border yesterday in Fronten, Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley where we are. It's an area notorious for cartel activity and human smuggling. On Monday, around 1:29 p.m., shots were fired at Border Patrol agents from the Mexican side. Agents took cover, they returned fire, and called for backup. This here will be drone footage from Texas DPS showing the suspected cartel members fleeing after firing shots at agents. No one was injured on either side.
For many, crossing the border isn't a choice, it's a desperate necessity. Poverty, gang violence, political instability, and climate change have forced thousands to flee their homes. While some seek a better life, others are escaping life-threatening conditions.
New York City's migrant crisis has reached an eye-popping new milestone. There are actually now more people seeking asylum in our city shelters than there are homeless New Yorkers.
And now we head to the southern border. We have been hearing stories of how a number of migrants are putting a strain along the U.S. and Mexico border. But what's their story? Why are so many migrants leaving their homes behind? News Nation's Allie Bradley joins us live from Arizona, where she spoke to several families and has their personal stories. So, Allie, what did they tell you?
Over the last year, policies have shifted dramatically, impacting who is being allowed to stay in the United States.
The plan is to find a job that's legal, not having to run in fear or worry that they will export you to Mexico. The main concern is getting sent back to Mexico and having to start the process all over again.
But for migrants fleeing persecution and seeking asylum, policies don't matter.
I feel so happy because we receive your country. I know no two nice people. We receive plenty of help, like food, like clothes, because we not coming with no clothes.
As they say, they have no other choice but to come.
May God bless America. Please let us in. At least let me in.
Migrants I walked with in a caravan from Tapachula, Mexico, marched towards that hope. Victor from El Salvador carried an American flag.
America was built on values. I know somehow about American history.
Some migrants simply believe more in American values than they do those of their own country. Like Igor, who would have been sent to the front lines in Russia's war against Ukraine, something he didn't stand behind.
Thank you, Joseph Biden, for this opportunity. God bless you. God bless USA.
Now, many migrants like Igor do not actually have work authorization while they're letting this process play out. And many of these migrants, too, Kelly, end up in these kind of removal proceedings or watching these asylum claims play out. And some of them don't get court cases for 3 to 6 years. And that court backlog just continues to grow.
But the journey alone is dangerous. Many face dehydration, exploitation, or even death along the way.
We cross the jungle, and we take a lot of time for coming to the United States, crossing seven countries, Panama, Costa Rica. It's really dangerous, but I think it is really difficult for us to cross the jungle. But most difficult is cross Mexico for the Venezuelan people, from Honduras, from Nicaragua, and different countries. It's really difficult for us, but we're here now.
Securing the border is no easy task. Border Patrol agents work tirelessly to manage an overwhelming number of crossings. Technology, like surveillance drones and sensors, help track movement, but cartels and human traffickers are constantly finding new ways to bypass security.
While we were with him shortly after deploying that drone, Caceres did spot a cartel scout in the bushes who just crossed the river and is now outside. You're looking at that scout now. You can see he's wearing like a camouflage shirt, trying to blend into the bushes. Now, the guide here was actually looking for U.S. authorities to make sure the migrants that he's about to smuggle are able to make it into the U.S. without being caught. These individuals are looking to completely evade law enforcement authorities. He has no idea, though, that the eye in the sky is watching his every move. Once he believes the coast is clear, the cartel guide goes right back to the banks of the Rio Grande. He then brings up two migrants up from those bushes, and they are going to make a run into that residential neighborhood right on the border in Roma, Texas. The migrants also believe they just made it into the U.S. undetected. You can see there they're making that run right into the residential neighborhood. They don't spot any law enforcement authorities, so they believe they got away. And now, as for the smuggler, he believes that his job is finished, right? Delivered the migrants, no arrest, but troopers were monitoring his every movement, and the drones actually were able to communicate that information right back to Border Patrol agents on the ground patrolling nearby, and that's when we saw the pursuit was right. I did notice a Border Patrol their way. They try to make a run away from it into the bushes. You can see there the Border Patrol truck pulling up, and as we were there, Border Patrol agents did rush to the scene. They did arrest a female migrant. Now, several other agents did jump into the bushes attempting.
Tech companies are trying to make it easier for Border Patrol agents to do their jobs, and also come up with an effective border solution that would be cheaper for taxpayers than building a physical wall. The Government Accountability Office estimates that could cost $18 billion.
That's a lot of sensor.
One company called Quanergy has been flying here from Silicon Valley for a year to test its surveillance system. Quanergy took LiDAR technology it developed for self-driving cars and built out a high-tech virtual border wall. It can detect movement within 360 degrees and 200 meters of the sensor. The software can tell the difference between people and animals. It would then send alerts to Border Patrol when people are detected.
Smuggling of drugs, particularly fentanyl, is another major concern.
The Nogales, Arizona port director says nearly 600,000 fentanyl pills were discovered. Along with the traditional method of hiding it in the car, these smugglers also concealed the drug inside of their bodies or strapped to their bodies.
Most things we get here are deeply concealed in compartments.
With the help of X-rays and canine teams, CBP officers at the Nogales Port of Entry have successfully stopped more than 21.6 million fentanyl pills from making it into the country this fiscal year. But the cartel is getting more creative.
We'll have a metal cover on them. They'll be full of meth or fentanyl. They'll be put together all the way around the rim of a tire, and then they'll put the tire back on the car and drive it through.
Hiding the drugs in just about anything.
Semi-truck, wood blocks to keep it from rolling back or anything. Really, they put dirt, oil, and everything. You wouldn't be able to see this crack here. It just looks like an old wood block. They hollow them out. They fill them with narcotics.
and everything.
We're going to decorate the front yard. We've got these full of meth.
And officials working along the border say while it's a good thing these drugs are being seized, the cartel operates as a business, and with every seizure, they are having success.
Just like any major business across this country, they will have an acceptable loss margin for damaged property, damaged goods, stolen goods. The cartel's no different. And we've heard that their acceptable loss margin is somewhere around 17 to 20%.
So, yeah, that means the majority of what the cartel is pushing is getting into the U.S.
The border crisis has become a political battleground. Some argue for stricter enforcement, including a stronger wall and harsher penalties. Others advocate for a more humane approach, including immigration reform and better processing systems for asylum seekers.
Today we are announcing the restarting of the Central American Minors Program for children to be reunited with a parent who is legally in the United States. This program was ended abruptly by the previous administration, leaving around 3,000 children already approved for travel stranded. The border is not open. Going forward, we will continue to look for ways to provide legal avenues in the region for people needing protection while we continue to enforce our laws.
We're here to announce the Dignity Plan. Dignity, which includes protecting the border with the best technology available, giving permanent protection to dreamers, reforming the asylum laws so that asylum is only granted to those who truly need it, and providing a 10-year dignity path for those who have lived in the shadows here in the United States.
Meanwhile, states like Texas and Arizona have taken matters into their own hands, deploying National Guard troops and pushing for state-led immigration policies.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott in Manhattan for a Republican gala Thursday night.
When we began the busing operation, it was going to one location. It was there on purpose. Because remember, up to this time, neither Joe Biden nor the border czar had actually been to the border to see the chaos they had caused.
Abbott, whose name has been floated as a possible VP pick in the upcoming presidential election, wasted no time talking about the influx of migrants entering the country.
We were sending them only to Washington, D.C. And quite literally out of nowhere, Mayor Adams starts criticizing me for sending them to New York City. So after a while, I figured, gosh, if I'm going to get the criticism, I'm going to get the credit.
So what's the solution? Experts suggest a mix of stronger border security, better legal pathways for immigration, and more foreign aid to address root causes in migrants' home countries. Comprehensive immigration reform remains a challenge, with political gridlock preventing major changes. But one thing is clear: without action, the crisis will only continue to grow.
New technologies act as a force multiplier for CBP agents in the field, and providing them with greater situational awareness and enabling more efficient use of CBP resources. For example, the deployment of autonomous surveillance towers, unmanned aerial systems, and other surveillance technology along the border facilitates real-time monitoring for potential threats, especially in remote areas that are far more difficult for Border Patrol agents to cover. We know that there have been more than 1.8 million gotaways at the border since January 2021, 194,000 since October 2023, and that's a major national security crisis.
The banner says exodus from poverty. This column of humanity heading north from the countries of Central and South America and well beyond too. North to the United States, because they think the opportunity, the hope, is there.
We are looking to improve ourselves, to have a better quality of life, because in our country, the situation is getting worse and worse, and we are only looking for an opportunity. What we are looking for is to work. We are not criminals. We are not bad people.
There is nothing new about all this. The number of people crossing illegally into America this past year has been staggering. 10,000 a day last week, and nearly 250,000 encountered by the U.S. border officials in November. It has been a record-breaking year, and objectively, it seems clear that the U.S. government has lost any sense of control.
The U.S. border crisis is a complex issue with no easy answers, but understanding the facts is the first step towards real solutions. What do you think should be done? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth analysis on today's biggest topics.